So welcome beautiful people to my first episode of sharing my fitness journey with you all. I have been interested in fitness and participating ever since I was a little girl, doing dance class, but also I want to say the extracurricular activities, but also like the workout aspect of it. I grew up with my mom doing exercises like home videotapes, and I started doing them especially when I became more conscious of my body and how I wanted it to look, and how this really started to transform over the years through definite ups and downs and downs. How my body feels, how I feel in my body, and really shifting my mind. I feel like we are inundated with a lot of messages that tell us, I don't know, for me personally, it feels like sometimes I am being asked to separate myself from my body, and maybe it's not explicit, but that's definitely kind of the vibe I get sometimes. And I'm learning that, it's kind of like a mirror that when I come across that, whatever my trigger is, I reframe it, and I affirm myself and who I am. And it doesn't take away anything from the other person or the image that I am looking at that brings something inside of me, or sometimes I come across something that reminds me of myself, or something that is genuinely, something I connect with and aspire to. And I have my own personal goals, which is why I'm sharing this fitness journey with you. I tend to keep those things really private because I don't really do it for fanfare per se. It is very personal for me, but at the same time, I feel like it's really important and can be really helpful and useful for other people who are either already on a fitness journey, embarking on a fitness journey, restarting. I had a period of time where I couldn't move, and that was really hard, being someone who's really active, and going through that process and connecting with my body even in that state. And yeah, so I'm here today, and I must say, after going through that experience of not being able to move, I have moments now where I'm at in my journey where I look back and I'm just like, wow, I'm here, because I remember what it was like back then. And I really enjoyed this most recent, what do I want to call it, program that I decided to do. We're in quarantine. To put a little timestamp on this video, it is November 20th, 2020, when I'm filming this. And we have been in a quarantine for most of the year, and I haven't gone to a gym. I had a membership at a Pilates studio, which was also a huge part of my rehabilitation, Pilates with a reformer. And I haven't gone to a gym. I did continue working out. From the beginning, I was going to a park, taking my mat, doing my little fitness challenges there, which I would also love to do a secondary video, because that was a very unique program that I so appreciate and would love to share more about. And I would continue my yoga practice, which is another thing that has helped me throughout my life. And then I just started to notice that even with the little exercises here and there, I don't think that it was challenging me enough. especially having done Pilates at the level that I was doing it at, and just my general body composition. I have a lot of energy. I carry a lot of energy, even though I am on the smaller side. I do have a lot of energy, and I feel like it's really important. It's really healthy for me to tap into that, especially because I have a lot going on in here. And I know exercise can be really useful to produce positive hormones for our bodies that are sustainable, things like endorphins, and it can help with serotonin, especially if you're exercising outside. And yeah, and it helps me because I can very much live in here, and I also have an immense capacity for physical energy. So it's very helpful for me. And I also have my personal goals, my personal vision, really, to tied to things that I want to do. For instance, becoming a really strong dancer, specifically in ballet, although I think I would have my own twist on it just because I am much more aware now of what is conducive to my body, and I don't really want to damage it further. I just want to build upon it and strengthen it, and I'm also really interested in creating innovative ways of expression through the dance medium, or anything really. So yes, that's one thing. And some of the other stuff, I feel like keeping it a secret right now, and build up, and as I get closer, then I'll be more able to share. So, and then also I have a vision as far as, how I want my body to look goes. So let's see, I started out, I knew about Chloe Ting for a while, like on and off. I never really did the exercises, I think maybe once or twice. And I don't know, I guess I was just doing other things, and this just popped up into my own like hemisphere, and I was up for it. She has this 2-week challenge, and it was a 2-week shred challenge. So I really like that because I felt like I had some excess that I really wanted to hone in on and move and see what happens. And I had a good feeling about it anyway, but seeing the results videos, I mean, it's just always really heartwarming to see the stories and personal experiences. And I was also amazed at the transformation that people experienced in such a small amount of time. And I must say, I experienced those transformations too, and I got a little discouraged along the way because I didn't think I saw any changes, but there were changes, and I started to notice it when clothes started fitting me differently. I think I took some pictures, and I noticed a difference, and people who I am like in my immediate surroundings, they started to notice a difference. And really, I also just started feeling better. So once I got over my hump of kind of feeling down on myself, feeling like, oh, I'm not really experiencing any changes, and then when I realized I am, that was so encouraging, and it just kept me going. And there were so many things that I really loved about the challenge. I wouldn't say there were any cons about the program. The only thing that I had was, my own mental state and my attitude towards myself and my progress. but the program itself was really wonderful, and it's 2 weeks. It's so short, 14 days. I feel like 2 weeks is so doable. I would recommend it for someone who wants something that is challenging, but in a way that feels gentle at the same time. I really like exercises that do challenge, and I also really appreciate when they're more low impact and they're things that I can modify and things that I can build up to as my strength is also growing. And I also experienced that throughout the challenge, especially on my upper body, because there were a lot of planks and things that were more oriented towards upper body strength in ways that maybe were indirect, but incorporated the upper body. And definitely a lot on the abs and the core, which I really appreciated. And that has been the part of me that has probably changed the most. I have to leggings, it's fine. They definitely fit me differently, but I feel like some of my pants, like my jeans, I'm gonna figure out if I can take them in, or when the time is right that I find a new pair. I'm also sewing my own clothes now, so this will be fun. And it's made me curious too about making clothes that perhaps are adjustable, kind of how they have maternity clothes and like maternity pants, and how they can adjust throughout a person's pregnancy. So let's see, what else do we have? Oh, I must say, so since I have done different programs in the past, every single one has been different. What I really appreciate about the 2-week program specifically is that there is a warm-up and a cool-down. I have done programs in the past where I did not use my better judgment, and I didn't really do a warm-up and I didn't do a cool-down because they weren't provided, and it wasn't recommended. And they didn't say don't do it. It just wasn't a part of the program. So as someone who has recovered from a time where, yeah, I just became really sensitive to my body and this sense of well-being that is also tied to longevity and being able to use my body in a sustainable way throughout my life, that is challenging me but isn't going to put me at risk for injury. If anything, it's going to prevent that. So I really appreciated the warm-up and cool-down that Chloe incorporated in her 2-week challenge. And when I finished that challenge, I was motivated to continue with another challenge just based off of my own personal goals. Just a little side note, I do modeling, and I had gotten an offer to go over to Turkey for Fashion Week. Not Fashion Week, for the fashion season for about 2 to 3 months. And I didn't even know that they had a fashion season, and I got super excited. And I realized, because that kind of came out of nowhere for me, I do apply myself to different casting agencies, but I hadn't done it in a while. And so it took me by surprise, and I was definitely in good shape, but I am a person who has this idea of excellence and knowing where I want to be, even if people around me are saying something different. And actually, that's something I'm going to touch on, because that's been a huge barrier to breakthrough in my own personal goals, is really just tuning in And like I said, it is a journey. So if I find myself in that place where I think I want to be, and I realize that it's something that I want something different, or maybe something other, like drastic change happens in my life, and being a woman who also someday wants to have children, I want to prepare my body before I have children, so that way when I am done, or like at least with my first pregnancy, that I'll be able to have a much more solid foundation to come back to, because our body does have muscle memory. And yeah, I just want to make it easier. I like thinking of myself as my own best friend, if I can help it, and if it's in my field of awareness, like what can I do to make it easier for myself? And that might also be like my future self, like being a guide of, hey, just so you know, I'm gonna really appreciate it when you do this for me. And yeah, so let's see, what was I saying about the pros and the cons, and pros and cons, like cool down and the warm up, and oh yeah, and also I carry a lot of tension in my quadriceps. You can tell, like if you see them, that they have, they tend to be like a more predominant part of my body, and so yeah, they do carry a lot of tension, and so much so that even if I'm like laying down, face down on the floor, ooh, the floor is like a foam roller for me, if it's a hard surface. So it was really helpful. One of her cool downs is has a lot of stretches that incorporate relieving a lot of tension that's in the quadriceps and different parts of the body. But this was really nice for me because I feel like maybe I haven't given myself enough time to really ease into that and open up in that way. And let's see, I printed it out, both challenges actually. So I did a 2-week challenge, and then when I finished the 2-week challenge, I decided to do the Hourglass challenge. And that was super transformative. I feel like it definitely, like that was when I really started to notice the changes, and like things that I had thought about before, like, oh, I wonder what it would look like if my body had this, or yeah, like, so it was really interesting to see my body actually change in those ways that I definitely noticed, and how quick, I don't know, because there are so many videos with other people's results of the quick and rapid transformations that they've had. I don't know if it's like, the body types, or if it's just what a person is looking for, that's what they're going to find. But I know for me personally speaking, my body also tends to be really responsive to whatever I decide to do. And yeah, this one in particular was really like talking my language. And I just finished the Hourglass challenge today, which is why I'm making the video, because I wanted to initially do it after the 2-week challenge, but I figured, you know what, I'm just going to condense this, and there is going to be a continued, like I plan on doing another program, and focusing on other area of my body, and also incorporating some of my own personal exercises and things that I'd like to do to live a healthy and active lifestyle. So yeah, it was really helpful. I didn't do the journaling with the Hourglass challenge, and there was really no reason other than I just didn't give myself the time to, but maybe I didn't really feel like I needed to. But it was super helpful when I did it. I would basically do a log every single day and just really talk about how I felt and what I wanted. And in my monthly calendar, I also like to write things that what my goals are, what my manifestations are, and that's really helpful and affirmative, and what I want to feel, what I want to attract, what do I want to bring, what do I want to work towards and move towards and create in my life. And so it's really nice to incorporate these programs into that and make it something magical, because that definitely resonates with me. Like, I do these exercises for different reasons, and I feel like a large part of it too, it's like my spirit is moving me. And it's moving me in a direction, like, for instance, the event that sparked all of this sort of like re-energizing and realizing, oh my gosh, I need to wake up on this part, is the offer that I got to model and do a bunch of work for about 2 to 3 months overseas. And I was like, wow, that's in my field of opportunities. I want to be ready for that, as ready as I can. And because I have desires and aspirations, beyond that, I just want to be able to show up as my best self, and in different ways. So let's see. I'm like thinking if there's anything else that I wanted to talk about with this. I do like to add extra strength for my lower body, just because my lower body tends to require that. If it's otherwise, it's just like, I don't know. It's like, really? Okay, fine, I'm just gonna hang out here. Like, it needs a challenge. I used to run long distances, like endurance training, and I'm doing marathon running, like long distance style. So my legs definitely are my strong suit, and um, they definitely want that extra challenge for them to spring up and get all like, So I noticed for myself that I did have to incorporate things like resistance bands and ankle weights and hand weights. And now that I think I'm considering joining a gym, I would really actually like to, because they have the proper equipment that I'm looking for to incorporate more of those weighted aspects and provide a richer challenge for my body in ways that I am looking for. And I also got a few questions about this challenge, and from someone who is maybe not in the healthiest state. Like, they definitely want to get in shape, but they also have limited capacity because of injuries or illness. So I wouldn't recommend this program for someone who is at that state. There are definitely alternatives out there. I know for myself, when I was sick, I did chair exercises. I did a lot of yin practices, which is yin yoga, or yin is more of an internal energy, and it's slower moving, and stretches, really relaxing, and I feel like nurturing the body, like movements that bring out that type of aspect of I guess movement medicine. So yeah, I feel like there are some modifications that can be made, but I tend to err on the side of not risking that if possible. Like, if a person knows that they have a capacity, then sure, break into that new territory. But yeah, if someone is still in recovery, I personally wouldn't advise it. So yeah, that was one question. That was a pretty consistent question. And I have my little journal here of some other questions asking if it was stressful. No, it wasn't. There were definitely some days where I felt like I don't want to do this, and some days I would take a break. And, I'm a lady who gets her cycles, so, I mean, like, my cycle is the whole thing. But when I'm definitely feeling it, um, the release part of it, then I really just honor that, and I don't push myself. Like, if it's something that I feel like, ugh, my body just doesn't want to do that right now, I don't. And I didn't find myself like really sore from this program, but I still got results, as you can see. I mean, like, I already was in good shape before, but I definitely have toned up, and I really liked something that I wrote on my calendar was that I really appreciate the compact strength that I'm building. So what that meant was like being strong, but also being compact. I had a dog that was like that. She was so small, but if you like tried carrying her, you saw that she was tiny, but she definitely had like mass to her. So, yeah, and I have lost weight in this program, and I would say it's significant enough where it's changed the way that my clothes fits on me and some of my sizing, but yeah, it was definitely in a way that felt really stable. So, which brings me to my next question, which is, are the results something that are, like, is it something that I can maintain? I would say if you want to continue with the program, the body does like to have new challenges, which is what I'm doing, but the programs themselves and all the exercises, it's definitely sustainable, and I feel like it's definitely a time frame that is very easy to squeeze into a person's life. And what's really nice is if you really wanted to, you could probably customize it completely the way that you wanted to, because these are home-based and these are on your own time. It's just a matter of getting your mind lined up with it, which brings me back to another point that I was just talking about on the days where I didn't feel like it and it was just a mental barrier. I noticed that there was something that really worked for me was I love watching runway videos, like the music, the energy, like they're so confident just walking on the runway, and that really motivated me, and not even in a very like explicit way, but just because the energy like pumped me up, then it freed me up. It like moved me to that space where I was like very natural to start my exercise routine like right after. So, if there's something like that for you, if you find yourself kind of at this like little slump, I definitely would recommend trying that. And also tied to that, a mental barrier is I noticed that there was a time in the Hourglass challenge, which was the second challenge that I did, that I think I'm gonna have to do two parts to this. It's a very long video, but yeah, so there was a part of the challenge, and actually this was a thing that I noticed that came up twice in the Hourglass challenge, and I didn't even know what it was until it hit me that I was avoiding doing the exercises because I was moving past a point in my fitness career that I hadn't reached before. And a large part of me not having reached my goals, and I'm just going to be honest here, is because I also put a lot of weight on feedback from the people around me. you know, being told that I'm too small, or it just wouldn't, what am I thinking, or just maybe, mm, coming from their perspective, even though it wasn't aligned with what I wanted. And so I really took ownership on that, like, okay, this is me. I'm doing this for me. And I can break through that. That was a pivotal, like such a small thing was such a pivotal thing for me. Like I actually feel it right now in my body, like how much that really meant to me. And it also was really helpful because this level of awareness that I have, I can take that with me so that when I come across anything like that in my future orientation towards my goals, that I can question it, like, am I resisting it because I haven't gone through past this point yet? And because maybe on some level I resisted it because it it was tied to something, or it meant something that it was tied to something that was unintentionally keeping me away, or intentionally, depends what it is. But yes, that was a big barrier and such an accomplishment. I would say that was probably more profound than the exercises and the workouts themselves, was just having that realization, that transformative moment, because not only am I transforming my mind in that moment, but that enabled me to unlock another layer of my fitness that I had not tapped into yet. So yes, that was super helpful. And I want to say, as far as results lasting, I've been able to keep it up. I am exercising, so I just recommend exercise as part of a healthy lifestyle anyway. So, if this is something that someone's asking, or someone is looking for a quick fix, I really can't answer that because I don't know what everybody's body is like. I know that it's just really helpful to make supportive choices and lifestyle choices that support whatever a person has in mind. I'm really looking forward to reporting back as far as how long, do the results last, and is it something sustainable, because I will be doing a challenge, and it's going to be focusing on different area of my body and seeing if those other things will be able to keep up. And another question was, did it create a new habit, like something for me to keep up with? And yes, it did. It was really nice to have that flexibility of when can I fit this into my day, but I really found it to be helpful when I fit it in the morning, because it definitely it made that a priority. And realizing when I'm making priorities and when I am making myself a priority, especially when I have the time and I'm able to do that. So yes, it did help me reaffirm that dedication, and there are different thoughts on how long it takes for a new habit to be created. And I definitely see value in that, as, like doing something consistently. And so I'm really happy to report that overall, and I've been so consistent, and I've also been really in tune with my own internal cues. For instance, doing a yoga practice, walking when I want to, and just keeping that activity. I think in the past I used to be really methodical about those things, and kind of like thinking, oh, if I do this, then I can't do that because that would be too much. And it's like, no, I'm by nature an active person. I just need to respect that. And especially, like, it makes me happy. And because every day it's something different, but it is kind of a routine. Like the workouts, you start to learn them, which can be really helpful. but I am also love music, so to make, like spice it up a little bit, I would put the headphones on, and then I would have on another device, I would have the workouts playing, and so that way I could like listen to whatever I wanted to, whether it was music or a podcast or video or something, and do my workout at the same time. And that was really helpful. And let's see, what were some other questions? Yeah, so this definitely helped me with my strength and my fitness and my mobility, especially doing the cool down and the warm up. Chloe gets into it in ways that it's really doable. Um, they're just like minor things that are life-changing, especially if you're someone who hasn't been active in a while. Um, it may be a challenge, but it's so worth it to open up the body and to relax. And when we move our bodies, we're actually communicating something, especially with the type of movements that we are doing. So I really try to be aware of that. Um, I would say my favorite part was just the amazing shape that it's created for my body so far. And I'm just like, it made me so happy, like with certain clothes, or um, I like wearing, I don't know, just things that it's just like, for me, it's personal, but I really can appreciate how my own body feels and looks in them, and it makes me feel sexy, and I really, really like that. It definitely gives me an added boost of confidence, especially as I'm owning myself, like what I want, and kind of just moving around like that. So this is it for my recap of the 2-week shred and the Hourglass challenge, and part 1, the introduction to my own fitness journey. And I'm so happy that you guys are here. And if you have any questions, by all means, leave them down in the comments below. And you're more than welcome to join my journey in your own way, and keep up. Yeah, you took away from this, and what your questions are, and maybe you even have some recommendations. Who knows? So thank you so much for taking the time to view this video, and I look forward to viewing, watching, hearing from you some more.